We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. Come to the light.
Hello, everybody. Where are we?
We are back.
We are back for episode 52.
52.
Now, I guessed that one.
52.
I had to guess that one. I knew it was 51 and 52. We're back on number 52.
Yes.
So glad to have you guys here.
Yes. And welcome back for another episode of Voices and Views with Zan and Chelz. I'm Chelz.
And I'm Zan, and thank you for hanging out with us today.
All right. And today's conversation is one that I feel like a lot of people are quietly dealing with, but nobody really wants to say out loud.
Oh, yeah. This one might hit a nerve for some people, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Because today we're talking about something we're calling the consistency trap.
The moment when you're doing everything right, you're showing up, you're putting in the effort, you're following all the advice, you're following all the advice, even the advice people give you.
And somehow nothing is happening.
Nothing.
No results, no feedback, no traction, just silence.
And you know what? You start sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I did what everybody said to do.
Exactly.
Post consistently, work hard, and keep showing up.
Yep, and people always say the same thing.
Just keep going.
Just be consistent.
As if consistency is a magic formula that guarantees success.
And look, consistency is important, and we're not saying that it's not.
Right.
But there's a point where people start wondering what happens when you've been consistent for a long time and nothing is changing.
But that's the part nobody really wants to talk about.
Yeah, because the motivational version of the story always skips that stage.
Hmm. The story is always like someone worked hard for a while and then everything worked out.
Right? So it's like the montage version of life.
Exactly. But in real life, sometimes you're consistent for months or even years, and you're still sitting there wondering if anybody sees what you're doing.
And that feeling can get really frustrating.
Especially if you're someone who genuinely tries.
Yes,
You're not cutting corners.
you're not being lazy.
You're putting a real effort in.
So today we want to talk about that experience, that feeling of doing everything that you were told to do and still feeling like you're invisible.
And we want to hear from you too.
Yes, we do.
Before we even get deeper into this conversation, drop a comment, tell us where you're watching from and where you're listening from today.
Yes, because we love seeing where everybody is tuning in from.
hmm And we always get people from different cities and states all over, sometimes even different countries. So it's very important to drop and let us know where you're from.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell us where you're joining us from today.
And Chels, I feel like we should start this episode with something that probably every creator, entrepreneur, or person trying to improve their life has heard at least once.
Oh, I already know what you're about to say.
Just be consistent.
There it is.
The number one piece of advice that everybody seems to give you.
And again, it's not bad advice.
No, because showing up regularly, it really matters too.
Yeah, but the message often sounds like this simple formula.
Effort plus time equals success.
Just keep going and eventually things will work out.
And when they don't work out, people tend to assume one or two things.
Either you were not consistent enough,
Or you must just be doing something wrong.
and sometimes that's true.
But sometimes it's not.
Yeah, so sometimes you really are doing everything that people told you to do.
And you do follow the advice.
You studied what other people were doing,
And you know what? You showed up. You showed up again and again.
and the needle still does not move
That is the part that can make people feel crazy, though.
because you start questioning yourself.
When you start wondering, am I wasting my time?
Or if maybe everyone else has some secret that you don't know.
Hmm. Meanwhile, from the outside, people just keep repeating the same advice.
Just keep going.
Just stay consistent.
So I want to ask everyone watching right now,
Hmm.
has
Be honest.
has someone told you to just be consistent recently?
And inside your head, you're thinking, I have been consistent.
For a long time.
If that has happened to you recently, drop a hand raise emoji in the comments
Seriously, we want to see it.
because I have a feeling that there are a lot of people out there who are quietly feeling the same way.
And if that is you, you are not alone.
No, not at all.
In the next part, we're going to talk about something that happens when you keep putting yourself out there and it feels like nobody's even seeing it.
Ah, yeah, that feeling of screaming into the digital void.
And trust me, Zan has some thoughts on that.
Oh, I definitely do.
All right, Zan. So you mentioned something earlier that I think a lot of people experience but don't always say out loud.
The digital void.
Yes.
That feeling when you are putting your voice out there and you feel like it's just disappearing into thin air.
And for people who are not creators or who have never tried to put something public out there, they might not fully understand what that feels like.
Right, because from the outside, people might think, hey, it's not a big deal.
They might think, well, just post something and if people like it, they'll respond.
Yeah, but it doesn't always work that way.
Not at all.
You can spend real time on something and you can spend real energy too.
You might think about what you want to say.
Maybe you rewrite it a few times, huh?
Maybe you record something, edit it, make sure it sounds good,
And then put it out there in the world.
and then
Nothing.
silence.
no comments,
no responses.
and maybe two likes.
One of them is your cousin.
And the other one is someone you have known for 10 years.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you're looking around and thinking, how are some people getting thousands of responses?
Or even hundreds.
And sometimes the frustrating part is you know your message had real value.
You were being honest,
You were sharing something meaningful.
and it just sits there.
I think the hard part is that humans naturally look for the feedback.
Yes.
When you speak, you expect someone to respond. Hint, hint.
Even if they disagree.
Even if they just acknowledge it.
But when there's no response at all, it almost feels like you were not even there.
It makes you feel like when there's no response that you're invisible
And that can mess with your head after a while.
because you start thinking, maybe, maybe I should just stop.
Maybe nobody cares.
Maybe nobody is even seeing it.
Or maybe the algorithm just buried it somewhere.
And you know what? That part drives me crazy.
Because now there are invisible systems deciding what people
Hmm.
see.
And you know what? Those invisible systems, you have no control over it.
You could say something thoughtful, helpful, or funny.
And you know what? And this is so true. And the platform might decide, okay, 5 people will get to see it.
Meanwhile, something random gets pushed to thousands.
And it makes you feel like the system itself is working against you
That is the part that gets exhausting.
because it's not just about the effort anymore.
It starts to feel like you're playing a game where you can't see the rules.
Exactly.
Imagine playing a board game where every 10 minutes someone changes the instructions.
Hmm. But they don't tell you.
You just notice that things suddenly stop working,
And that's what the online world feels like sometimes.
especially for creators,
Yeah, especially for the small creators.
because you're trying to grow.
Yes, yes. And you know what? You want to connect with others too.
Yeah, and you're trying to reach people.
Oh, but instead it feels like you're standing in an empty room just talking to yourself.
And I know some people listening right now have experienced this exact feeling.
Hmm. So let's ask everyone watching or listening.
Be honest with us,
Have you ever poured your heart into a post, a project, or something you created?
and it got absolute crickets,
No response.
no conversation.
And just silence?
If that has happened to you, go ahead and vent in the comments.
Seriously, vent in the comments if that ever happened to you.
This is a safe place for that.
Because I guarantee there are other people reading those comments thinking the exact same thing.
And sometimes it helps just knowing that you're not the only one dealing with it.
Exactly.
In the next part, we want to talk about something important.
The experience, this experience just, it's not just happening online.
Not at all.
There are real life versions of this same frustration.
Things like job searching, dating, finances,
In situations where you're doing everything you're supposed to do.
and somehow the results are still not there.
Mm. Okay, so in the next segment, we're going to bring this conversation out of the internet world into real life.
Because the consistency trap shows up in a lot more places than people realize. So, we've talked about the digital side of this,
Mm-hmm.
posting things, creating things,
Mm-hmm.
sharing your voice and hearing nothing back.
And but the consistency trap is not just an online experience.
Not even close.
Hmm. The same frustration shows up in real life all the time.
And I think that's when it really starts to hit people emotionally.
And that's because it hits the areas of life, that matters the most.
Let's talk about
Hmm.
job searching for a second.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Imagine spending hours updating your resume,
Customizing cover letters.
filling out applications,
Sometimes the same information over and over and over and over.
upload your resume.
Now type everything that was already on a resume into another form.
Exactly.
You apply to 10 jobs,
20 jobs,
50 jobs,
sometimes 100.
and what happens?
Silence,
No interview,
no response.
sometimes not even a rejection email.
Feels like your application just disappeared into space.
And people will say the same advice again.
Just keep applying.
Just stay consistent.
And again, that advice isn't necessarily wrong.
But it doesn't make the emotional experience any better, any easier either.
Exactly.
Let's talk about another area where people experience this.
Dating.
Oh boy.
The dating apps alone could be their own entire episode.
Absolutely.
Think about it.
And you put effort into your profile.
You choose photos.
You write something thoughtful in your bio.
Maybe you try to be funny.
Maybe you just want to be sincere, though.
You start swiping,
You send messages,
and again,
crickets,
no reply.
or you get one word responses.
Or someone disappears halfway through a conversation.
Hmm. And after a while, you start wondering, what are you doing wrong?
Even if you've done nothing wrong.
Exactly.
Another example is finances.
That's a real one.
Someone might be trying to do everything responsibly,
Budgeting,
cutting unnecessary spending,
trying to save,
maybe working extra hours.
and somehow they still feel like they are barely staying afloat
Bills keep coming,
because costs keep rising.
and it feels like no matter how disciplined you are, you're not getting ahead.
And this can be very discouraging.
Because again, you followed all the advice.
And you spent less,
Save more,
you was more responsible.
yet the outcome still feels stuck.
I think what all of these examples have in common is effort without visible reward.
Yes.
Humans are wired to expect a relationship between effort and results.
Yeah, like if I work hard, something should move.
If I try consistently, something should improve. Something.
And when that connection breaks, it can feel incredibly confusing.
Because we're taught that effort always pays off.
But sometimes the timeline is longer than people expect.
And sometimes the system itself has barriers that people don't talk about.
Exactly.
So we want to ask everybody listening something now.
This one might take a little honesty.
Think about your life right now.
Is there one area where you feel like you're putting in 100% effort?
And you're seeing 0% reward.
Maybe it's your career,
Maybe it's your relationships.
maybe it's a creative project.
And maybe it's something personal you're trying to improve.
Whatever it is, we want to hear it.
Drop it in the comments.
Because the truth is, a lot of people are quietly fighting battles like this.
And sometimes just saying it out loud, it helps people realize they are not alone.
Okay, and in the next segment, we're going to talk about something deeper.
The emotional side of this.
Yes. Vince Brooks says the hiring process is atrocious.
Yes. Can be very discouraging, and especially when you keep hearing that phrase, Vince. Be consistent, keep trying to be consistent, and you're doing everything right. You are consistent. And but you just keep hearing that, and it's just not your fault. It's a battle out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the emotional side of this.
Yes, because when your effort goes unnoticed for a long time, something starts to change internally.
And because the feeling, it starts to shift,
It goes from maybe I'm doing something wrong,
to maybe nobody even see me at all.
and that feeling can hit a lot harder than people realize.
Yes. So in the next part, we're going to talk about emotional toll of living in what feels like a ghost town. Hmm.
So, we've talked about the work people put in,
The effort
the consistency,
and the silence that sometimes follows it.
but now we need to talk about something deeper.
And that is the emotional toll.
Because when things don't respond the way you expect them to,
It doesn't just stay logical.
it becomes personal.
And at first, when something doesn't work, you usually assume one thing.
That you made a mistake.
Right.
You think maybe I need to improve.
Maybe I need to learn more.
Maybe my timing was off.
Maybe I need to just try harder.
And that mindset can actually be healthy in the beginning.
Because it pushes you to grow.
But here's where things start to change.
Hmm. When the silence keeps happening,
Over and over again,
after a while, the questions stop being asked. What did I do wrong?
and it slowly turns into something else.
Do I even matter here?
That's the shift.
And that shift can be really, really heavy.
Because it's no longer about improving a skill,
It starts touching your identity.
it makes people feel invisible.
And invisibility is one of the hardest feelings for humans to deal with.
Think about it.
Humans are social creatures,
We look for signals that we belong,
and we look for acknowledgement,
a response,
a reaction.
even disagreement.
Because silence is the hardest thing because it gives you nothing to work with.
Exactly.
If someone criticizes your work, at least you know they saw it.
If someone debates your opinion, at least the conversation exists.
Yeah, but when there's nothing,
Your brain fills in the blanks.
and usually it fills them in with the worst possible assumptions.
Nobody cares.
Nobody sees me.
Maybe I'm not good enough.
And if someone sits in that mindset long enough, it can start affecting their confidence.
It can make them stop trying,
And it's not because they don't care.
but because they start protecting themselves,
You know why? Because rejection hurts,
even silent rejection.
especially silent rejection.
And I think a lot of people listening right now might relate to this.
Because maybe they put themselves out there in some way or another.
Maybe they've tried to share their voice,
Maybe they're trying to build something, who knows?
a
A
business,
creative project.
or a community.
And when the response didn't come, they started internalizing it.
But here's something important that we need to say.
Just because something isn't getting attention,
Does not mean it has no value.
those are two very different things.
Attention is not always a measurement of worth.
And that's something people have to remind themselves constantly in today's world, especially.
Because modern platforms are built around visibility,
Numbers,
likes,
views,
shares.
but none of those numbers tell the full story of something's impact.
Sometimes the quietest things matter the most.
And sometimes the loudest things fade the fastest.
But emotionally, it's still hard when you feel like you're in a ghost town.
When it feels like you're talking and nobody answering,
So let's talk about something real for a second.
and we want honest answers.
How much of your mood is influenced by external validation?
Meaning responses from other people.
Likes, comments, messages,
hmm
feedback.
Even simple acknowledgement.
Does it affect your mood?
Does it affect your motivation though?
Because for a lot of people, the answer is yes.
And that's not something to be ashamed of.
It just means that you're human.
But learning how to navigate that feeling.
That's the real challenge.
Mm. And in the next part, we're going to talk about something that makes the consistency trap even more frustrating.
When the rules change.
Oh, without telling anyone, without telling you the rules changed.
When the goalposts suddenly move.
And that strategy that used to work.
Doesn't work anymore. All right, so we just talked about the emotional side of the consistency trap.
The part where silence starts to feel personal.
But there's another layer to this that makes the whole thing even more frustrating.
And that's when the rules change.
Without anyone telling you.
And suddenly, what used to work, guess what? It don't work anymore.
And this happens in so many different areas of life. And before we move on, I do want to
You got a
read this
comment?
comment from Vince. He says, "Yep, I put 100% into everything I do, but some things just don't work out and they must have not been meant at that time. Just keep going. When one door closes, a better door is guaranteed to open. Stay positive and don't complain. When you complain, it just makes it worse because you keep replaying the scenario in your head."
Yep, like I said, and suddenly what used to work doesn't work anymore.
Yep, and this happens in so many different areas of life.
And especially in anything that involves systems. Oh boy.
And
And
platforms,
industries,
jobs.
even social environments.
Let's go back to the digital world for a second.
Because creators experience this all the time.
One year, everyone says long posts are the key.
And then suddenly everyone says the short content is the key.
Then the algorithm pushes video.
Then it pushes something else.
Then the platform changes the way things are shown.
And the strategy that worked 6 months ago, it suddenly stops working.
But nobody sends out a memo explaining what changed.
And so what? The creators are just sitting there thinking, hmm.
What did I do wrong?
Then in reality,
The entire environment shifted.
okay, imagine training for a race.
You practice on a certain track every day.
Mm-hmm. And you get really good at running on that track
Then on race day, someone moves the finish line,
and changes the track layout.
but they don't tell you.
That's a lot of modern systems feel like.
And it's not just social media.
Yes, think about careers.
10 or 15 years ago, people were told a very specific formula:
Yeah, go to school,
get a degree,
work hard,
stay loyal to a company.
and things will work out.
But the job market changed,
And industries, they shift.
and technology reshaped entire careers.
And suddenly, the old path doesn't guarantee stability anymore.
Yet people are still giving the old advice.
Which makes people feel like they're failing at a system that quietly changed.
That can be incredibly discouraging.
Because it creates this weird feeling of chasing something, that keeps moving.
You get close,
And then the goalposts shift,
you adjust,
then they shift again.
and eventually people start asking a really important question:
Am I doing something wrong?
or is the game itself different now?
Because that's a powerful question.
Because sometimes the answer is not about working harder,
Sometimes it's about realizing the environment changed.
and adapting to that reality.
But adaptation takes time.
And during that transition period,
It can feel like you're stuck.
like you're doing everything right, but nothing is responding the way it used to.
And you know what? This is where a lot of people they hit that burnout.
Because they keep pushing with the same strategy,
Yeah, hoping that something gonna click.
but they're operating in a completely different landscape.
That can be very exhausting.
So let's ask everyone listening something.
Hmm. Okay. Think about your life for a moment.
Has there ever been a time where you felt like the rug got pulled out from under you?
A moment where something that used to work suddenly just stopped working.
Maybe it was in your career,
Maybe it was a business
maybe it was a creative project.
or even a relationship dynamic.
Tell us about it.
Drop it in the comments.
And Charlie says, "Good evening, family."
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. And Charlie also says, "Honestly, I've noticed what seems to fit don't quite seems to fit."
Yeah, it's a don't fit anymore. So many things. That's the change part. Things change so much. What used to work don't work anymore.
Right? And Charlie also says, "I only compete with myself.
Yeah,
Everyone isn't consistent with their growth mindset."
that's right. You have to compete with yourself. I compete with myself too, Charlie. I know I can't compete with the world and everybody else. I compete with myself to do better. So I challenge myself. All
Okay.
right.
And last one, he says, "We must update our version of reality."
Yes. Yes. This is so true.
And these moments are a lot more common than people realize.
Hmm. Mm. And sometimes, hearing other people's experiences help put things into perspective, though.
Absolutely.
Now, before we jump into the next part of this conversation,
This is a perfect spot to take a quick pause.
hmm, we're going to step away for a moment.
This is where we usually drop in a quick sponsor message or shout out some links.
Yes. So if you want to support the show, check the description where you're listening.
And we'll be right back.
And when we come back,
We're going to talk about something really important.
okay, how do you keep going when the internal applause disappears
When nobody is clapping,
and nobody responding?
nobody is validating what you're doing.
So, how do you keep yourself motivated then?
That's where internal validation comes in.
Okay. And that shift can change everything.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more voices and views.
We'll be back.
We're going to roll our commercial.
We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. Come to the light, come to the light. You could be a part of the conversation. Come to the light, come to the light. You could be a part of the conversation. Talking to the people.
Oh, okay. I want to make an announcement too. I don't have too many community announcements, but coming up on the 14th of March, the Real Deal Band will be at the King's Bar and Grill. And it'll be a St. Patrick's Day celebration. I want you guys, they say, wear your green. And I said, if you don't have green, have some green in your pocket. That counts too, if you'll have some green on. But also, it's a special night because I'll be celebrating my birthday along with their lead singer, Dre. Dre will be celebrating her birthday. So, you guys come on out and celebrate. You might have birthdays or whatever you're celebrating, but you better get out there early and get you a table if you are celebrating something. But I invite everybody to come out and celebrate with me for my birthday. It's good music with the real deal, and it's going to be a little special treat we're going to do also. So come out and support. That'll be next Saturday, the 14th, Kings Bar and Grill, right here in Freeport, Illinois, on Southwest Avenue, 8 p.m.
All right, so welcome back to Voices and Views with Zan and Chelz.
Okay. If you're just joining us, we're talking about this consistency trap.
That experience of doing everything you were told to do.
Yes, showing up, working hard, staying consistent.
And somehow the results still aren't showing up.
And before the break, we talked about something really important.
When the rules of the game change.
And sometimes you actually didn't do anything.
The environment just shifted.
But now we want to talk about a different challenge.
What happens when the applause stops?
Or maybe it never started.
Because a lot of motivation in the beginning comes from external validation.
Yes, likes,
comments,
encouragement,
feedback,
people noticing what you're doing.
And when that happens, it creates momentum.
Yes, it makes you feel like you're on the right track.
Like your effort is being seen.
But what happens when that validation disappears?
Or never shows up in the first place?
That's when people start facing a much harder question.
Why am I even doing this?
Exactly.
Because when no one's clapping,
you have to decide if the work itself still matters to you.
That's the difference between external motivation and internal motivation.
External motivation is fueled by other people's responses,
Internal motivation is fueled by your own values.
by the satisfaction of the work itself,
And shifting from one to the other is not always easy.
especially in a world that constantly measures everything publicly.
Numbers are everywhere:
Views,
followers,
rankings.
performance metrics,
This is very easy to start believing those numbers defining your worth.
but they really don't,
Because numbers measure visibility.
not value.
And those two things are not always the same.
Some of the most meaningful work people do happens quietly,
Yeah, behind the scenes,
without recognition.
without applause.
Think about teachers,
Parents,
caregivers.
mentors,
A lot of their impact never shows up as a visible statistic.
but it still changes lives.
And I think that's an important reminder.
Because if your motivation only exists when people are watching,
It becomes really hard to stay consistent when they're not.
and this, which brings us to something we both talked about before.
You have to find reasons to keep going that exist outside of the audience.
Yeah, reasons that belong to you.
Maybe it's growth,
Maybe it's expression
maybe it's the joy of creating something.
or the challenge of learning something new.
Because when those internal reasons are strong enough,
The silence doesn't stop you,
it might still be frustrating,
but it doesn't define you.
and that's a powerful shift.
So let's ask everybody listening something.
Think about your life for a moment.
Is there something you do purely for yourself?
Something you would still do even if nobody ever saw it.
No likes,
No applause,
no audience.
just you in the process.
Maybe it's writing,
Maybe it's drawing,
maybe it's exercising.
maybe it's learning something new.
Whatever it is, we want to hear it
Drop it in the comments.
because those things often reveal what people truly care about.
And sometimes reconnecting with that feeling can bring back the joy that gets lost when we focus too much on outcomes.
Yes. In the next segment, we're going to talk about something a lot of people struggle with
The difference between pushing through,
and knowing when it's time to pivot.
because sometimes persistence is powerful,
And sometimes persistent turns into something else.
the sunk cost trap.
Yeah. When you keep doing something just because you already invested much time into it.
And figuring out that difference can be really tricky.
So, in the next part, we're going to break that down
How do you know when to keep going?
and when it might be time to try a new strategy.
Yep, and Charlie says, I created the invisible pat on the back.
Oh, okay. We all need to have that.
Yes,
Pat ourselves on the back because we don't give ourselves enough credit.
right?
We beat up on ourselves easily, but we don't give ourselves credit like, hey, good job, you did good, or you looking good today, or you whatever. Compliment yourself.
Right. And Vince Brooks says, how do you keep going when nobody is clapping for you? You have to remember why you started and remember that not everyone sees your vision, and you have to get rid of all the outside noise
Mm-hmm.
and no longer need validation from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Not needing validation is hard, but it's possible. Once you no longer need validation, you move differently and start
Yes.
achieving things and don't even realize when nobody isn't clapping for you because your internal claps are very loud and drowned out all the silence. And Charlie says, I go back to my martial arts training.
Oh, okay.
I go back to my transmutation versus transition. Love you some you.
Mhm.
Okay. And
Okay.
all right, so let's get into something that a lot of people struggle with but don't always talk about openly.
The difference between persistent and the sunk cost fallacy.
Now, persistence is something we hear about all the time.
Never give up.
Keep pushing,
Stay consistent.
fight through the hard parts.
And sometimes that advice is absolutely right.
A lot of meaningful things in life take time.
Longer than people expect.
Businesses take time,
Skills take time.
relationships take time.
Even personal growth can take years before you see the full result.
But here's the tricky part.
There's another concept that lives right next to persistence,
The sunk cost fallacy.
which basically means continuing something only because you already invested too much into it.
Time,
Energy,
money,
effort.
and the thought of walking away from that investment feels painful,
Yeah, so some people just stay.
even when the situation isn't working anymore.
Yeah, this shows up in many areas of life:
Careers,
relationships,
business ideas.
creative projects,
People think I've already spent 2 years on this,
or 5 years.
or 10 years.
They start feeling like quitting would mean those years were wasted.
But here's the important truth.
Time spent learning, never actually wasted.
Even if the path changes,
Even if the destination ends up being different from what you originally expected,
but emotionally, it can still be hard to let go.
because persistence is praised.
While quitting is usually criticized.
Yeah. Society loves stories about people who pushed through the struggle and eventually succeeded.
But we don't hear too many stories about the people who
Mm,
pivoted.
that's true. Even though pivoting often is the smartest move.
Think about innovators,
Entrepreneurs,
artists,
many of them tried multiple directions before finding something that worked.
but when we look at their success stories later, it often looks like a straight line.
When in reality, it looks more like a maze.
Turns,
Dead ends,
backtracking,
trying something new.
and that's a normal part of the process.
And the challenge is knowing when persistence is helping you.
And when persistence is actually trapping you,
That requires honest self reflection.
asking questions like,
Am I still learning from this?
am I still growing?
Does it still excite me at all?
Or am I only continuing because I feel obligated to?
Because I've already invested too much.
There's also another important question.
Is the strategy the problem or the goal the problem?
Sometimes the dream is still right.
But the method needs to change.
Maybe the way you're approaching something needs to evolve.
A different platform,
A different
a
strategy.
different environment.
Other times the goal itself might change.
And that's okay too.
Growth often changes what people want.
What mattered to you 5 years ago might not matter in the same way today.
And that doesn't mean the earlier effort was meaningless.
It just means you involved.
So let's ask everyone listening a question.
Mhm. This one might reveal something interesting about your personality.
Are you naturally a never give up type of person?
The kind of person who will push through almost anything.
Or are you someone who believes in recognizing when it's time to pivot?
When it's time to try something different.
There's no right or wrong answer here,
Both mindsets have strengths.
but knowing which one you lean toward can tell you a lot about how you
Mhm.
approach challenges.
So tell us in the comments.
Are you the type who keeps pushing forward no matter what?
Or the type that believes in changing course when something stops working.
In the next segment, we're going to talk about something really important
How to reconnect with joy.
because when effort becomes stressful,
When the numbers become overwhelming,
when results start controlling your mood.
it's really easy to forget why you started in the first place
So, next, we're going to talk about finding the fun again.
and why that might be the most important reset of all.
All right. And Charlie says it was a reason Jesus spoke in parables.
Okay.
All right. And Charlie also says, must make an inner commitment to learn something new every day and one random kindness. And then Charlie said, this is a therapy to me.
Mm-hmm. It is, and like I said, a lot of times we beat up on ourselves too much. It's okay to try something that don't work, and to evolve. That's what you have to do. Sometimes you have to redo everything and evolve, and whatever works for you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we just talked about persistence versus
Mm-hmm.
knowing when to pivot,
And that leads us into something that I think a lot of people lose along the way.
joy.
The original reason you start doing something in the first place.
Because when you first start something, it's usually exciting.
Yeah, that's curiosity.
There's creativity.
And there's exploration
You're not thinking about metrics
or results.
or validation.
You're just doing it because you like it,
But somewhere along the way, things can change.
especially once something becomes public
Or once it becomes tied to goals
or income.
or recognition.
Suddenly the pressure starts creeping in.
And now you're watching the numbers,
Views,
likes,
comments,
follower counts.
and slowly the experience shifts.
What used to feel playful starts to feel like a performance.
What used to feel creative starts to feel like pressure.
And before you even realize it,
You're no longer enjoying the thing you once loved.
you're just chasing outcomes.
And that's a dangerous place to stay too long.
Because when joy disappears, burnout usually follows.
And burnout has stopped a lot of talented people from continuing their work,
Not because they lack the ability.
but because the experience stopped being fulfilling.
And I think that's why it's so important to occasionally reset your relationship with what you're doing.
And just step back from the numbers.
Step back from the expectations.
Yes, and reconnect with the part that originally made you excited.
Maybe that means experimenting again,
Trying things without worrying if they perform well,
creating something just because you feel like it.
not because it fits a strategy.
Sometimes people rediscover their creativity when they stop trying to control the outcome.
Yeah, when they give themselves permission to explore again,
And that's where a lot of the magic actually happens.
because creativity thrives in curiosity, not in pressure.
And the same applies to other areas of life too.
Yeah, work
Hobbies.
and personal growth.
If everything becomes a scoreboard, it's hard to enjoy the process.
And life is mostly process.
The results are just the moments.
So let's ask everyone listening something.
Think about a hobby or project in your life.
Something that brings you pure joy.
Something you do just because you enjoy doing it.
No pressure
No expectations,
and no performance metrics.
just enjoyment.
Maybe it's painting. Oops. What is that thing for you?
Yeah, maybe it's cooking,
Maybe it's painting.
maybe it's gaming,
And maybe it's gardening.
maybe it's writing in a journal that nobody else will ever read.
Ooh, whatever it is, we want to hear about it.
Drop it in the comments.
Because those things often tell us more about who we are than the things we do for approval.
And sometimes reconnecting with those simple joys is what helps people break out of the consistency trap.
Because when you enjoy the process again,
The pressure starts to fade.
yes. In the next segment, we're going to talk about something really important
Shifting your focus away from big numbers.
and toward real connection.
Because sometimes people chase massive audiences.
When what actually matters is a group of people who genuinely care.
That's where the real community lives.
Yeah, and that might be the biggest mindset shift of all.
All right. And Charlie says, our Lewis lecture is the verity voice y'all inspire me to push through a perseverance.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And he says, balance the inner equilibrium.
Hmm.
And he also says, we must detoxify your circle weekly.
Oh, yes.
All right. So we just talked about reconnecting with joy
Hmm.
in the process.
And which is something a lot of people lose when they get stuck chasing results.
And that brings us to another really important mindset shift.
One that can completely change how people view success,
Quality over quantity.
especially when it comes to community.
Because a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking bigger numbers automatically mean bigger impact,
More followers,
more views.
more subscribers.
But the truth is, those numbers don't always represent real connection.
Sometimes a huge audience can actually be very passive.
People scroll past,
Maybe they tap like,
but there's no real interaction,
and there's no conversation either.
no community,
Meanwhile, someone with a smaller audience might have something very different
real
and
engagement,
real conversations
real relationships.
and people who genuinely care about what you're creating.
And that kind of support is incredibly valuable.
In fact, it can be much more meaningful than those large numbers.
Because when someone consistently shows up for what you're doing,
That's not just attention,
that's loyalty,
that's belief.
that's community.
And communities are built one person at a time,
Not by chasing viral
but
moments.
by building genuine connections
And I think sometimes people forget that every large community started small.
every moment,
Every business,
every creative platform,
at some point, it was just a handful of people who believed in it.
a small group who showed up consistently
And those people matter more than they might realize.
because they're in the foundation.
They are the early supporters,
The people who encourage you when things are quiet.
the people who say, I see what you're doing,
And that kind of encouragement can make a huge difference
especially when someone is stuck in the consistency trap.
when they're wondering if their effort is even worth it.
Sometimes one supportive voice can make someone keep going.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So instead of focusing only on big numbers,
Hmm. Sometimes it's helped to appreciate the people who are already there,
the ones who comment,
the ones who share your work.
the ones who check in,
These people are not just an audience,
they're your community.
and community is what keeps things alive long term.
So we want to do something fun right now.
A little community appreciation moment.
If you're listening to this and there's someone who always shows up for you,
Someone who consistently supports what you do,
tag them in the comments
give them a shout out
and let them know that you appreciate them.
because support deserves recognition too.
And sometimes people don't realize how much their encouragement
Mhm.
matters.
A simple comment can keep someone motivated for weeks.
So let's spread a little appreciation today.
Now, in the final segment of this episode,
We're going to talk about something that can be surprisingly freeing:
letting go.
letting go of expectations.
Letting go of outcomes you can't control.
Because sometimes the biggest relief comes from realizing something simple,
You can control your effort.
but you can't control the response.
And once people truly accept that,
The pressure starts to lift.
so in the final part, we're going to talk about the letting go challenge.
All right, we made it to the final part of today's conversation.
And this one might be the most freeing idea we talk about in this entire episode.
Letting go.
Not letting go of your effort,
Not letting go of your values.
but letting go of outcomes you can't control.
Because that's where a lot of the stress in the consistency trap comes from.
The expectation that effort should guarantee a certain result.
If I do this long enough,
If I follow the rules,
if I work hard enough,
then this outcome should happen.
but the reality is life doesn't always operate on guarantees.
There are too many variables:
Other people's decisions,
timing,
systems and algorithms,
opportunity,
luck.
all kinds of factors that exist outside of your control.
And when people attach their happiness to outcomes they can't control,
That's when frustration starts to build.
because they're measuring their effort against something unpredictable.
And that can make even meaningful work feel kind of discouraging.
But something interesting happens when people shift their focus.
Instead of asking, will this succeed?
They start asking, is this worth doing regardless?
That's a powerful mindset change.
Yes, because now the value of the work isn't dependent on the response,
It's based on the effort itself,
the growth,
the learning,
the expression.
the fact it might have, even if we can't see it immediately.
And when people truly embrace that mindset
They stop chasing validation,
and start focusing on contribution,
on showing up honestly,
on doing the work that they believe in,
whether it gets noticed or not.
that doesn't mean you stop caring about the results.
It just means the results stop controlling your self-worth.
And that shift can be incredibly liberating.
Because suddenly you're not trapped by expectations anymore
You're just doing the work.
and letting the outcome unfold however it will.
So, we want to leave everyone listening with a small challenge this week.
Something simple but powerful.
Think about one expectation you've been holding on to tightly.
Something you've been measuring your success against.
Maybe it's a number.
Maybe it's a milestone.
Maybe it's a specific outcome that you thought should happen by now.
And ask yourself something.
What would it feel like to let go of that expectation,
To keep doing the work.
but release the pressure of needing that specific result?
Sometimes that small mental shift can change everything.
Because once the pressure lifts,
The joy often comes back.
and when joy returns, creativity returns,
Motivation returns.
energy returns.
And ironically, that's often when results start showing up anyway.
But by then, you're not chasing them anymore.
You're just building something meaningful.
And before we wrap up, we want to say something to anyone out there who feels like they're stuck in the void right now.
If you're working hard,
If you're trying,
if you're showing up even when it feels like nobody notices,
that effort still matters.
growth doesn't always happen in public,
Progress doesn't always come with applause.
but it's still happening.
So keep learning,
Keep experimenting,
keep creating,
and most importantly,
be patient with yourself.
because sometimes the quiet seasons are just part of the journey.
And if this episode resonated with you today, we'd really appreciate your support.
Yes, make sure you subscribe to the show
And leave us a review wherever you're listening.
and share this episode with someone who might need to hear it.
Someone who's working hard and wondering if it's worth it.
Because chances are they're not alone either.
Thank you for spending this time with us today.
Yes, we appreciate every single one of you who listens and supports the show.
This has been Voices and Views with Zan and Chelz.
Yes, and thank you for joining us, you guys. Good
Yes.
night.
Have a good night. Should we read these really quick?
We got some comments in still.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and read those right quick.
Yeah. Charlie says, thank you for
Hello.
creating a space like this to learn to decompress.
Oh yes, we Charlie, we try to make the show a variety. We want to have serious topics that we can discuss to uplift people and maybe discuss what people are going through. And then we have fun topics and we have guests. We have a lot of stuff planned. So we thank you for being consistent and thank you for constantly coming in and joining us. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you always
Yes.
showing up.
Always showing up.
Commenting,
When we see those
interacting.
names, we might not call you out every time. We try to read all the comments, but we appreciate you showing up and being there all the time. It means a lot.
Yes, and he also says we must watch our elevator capacity as well.
Yes. And something else you must watch is crocheting through the chaos with crocheting through the
Oh
chaos
yeah,
with Zan.
definitely.
You must watch that. That's our new series. It is under Voices and Views on TikTok. I do post clips on our page here. It's
Check it out.
crocheting through the chaos with Zan. We do have viral videos on there already and getting the channel up because that's going to be something else for Voices and Views. So when you support on there, you support us. And again, come out and celebrate my birthday with me on March 14th at King's Bar and Grill, where our band, I always say our band because we love the real deal.
Yes,
That's our band. It's not our personal band, but we consider them ours. So come out and support them, and we'll be telling you other events they have coming. But this will be March 14th right here in Freeport at the King's Bar and Grill. It'll be from 8 to 1, I believe. It'll be a birthday celebration for myself and their lead singer. They're celebrating their lead singer birthday. So you can come out and celebrate birthday, anniversary, whatever. But get there early and reserve your table and wear something green if you can. All right.
All right. And Terrence Ron Redeem says, hey, my favorite ladies.
Hey there. Hey, Terrence. And Terrence had a show tonight, too.
Yep. And Janet says, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I do so much for my family.
Yes, you get to pat yourself on the back. If no one else does, yes, you do it.
Yep. Ron Redeem says, let go and let God. Amen. Know your self-worth.
Yes. Very important to know your self-worth. Know what's important to you and not so much as what's important to everybody else. Make you happy first, I'd say.
Yep. And then God guides your path. Okay. So that's been Voices and Views, episode 52.
This is episode 52. We're glad you guys have tuned in and joined us for another podcast episode of Voices and Views with Zan and Chelz. And we are on Wednesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll be back on Wednesday. We have a guest on Wednesday. It's going to be really interesting. You guys come back on Wednesday. We'll have Mr. Denarius Thomas with us. We'll be posting that out there. So he has a lot that he's doing. And so come back and join us.
And Tanya says, I enjoyed the show.
Thank you, Tanya. You are another one that we always have been here supporting us all the time, and we appreciate that. When we come around to our 1 year anniversary, we're going to do something big and have our, special followers, in the celebration with us. I think that'll be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So thank you guys.
Yep,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for supporting the show. Like I say, keep supporting.
Yep. We'll roll the commercial and we're out.
Yes.
We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. Come to the light, come to the light. You could be a part of the conversation. Come to the light, come to the light. You could be a part of the conversation. Talking to the people. We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight. We gon' talk about some things tonight. Got a tea in a glass with ice. We got voices, we got views tonight. We got voices, we got views tonight.